Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. With so much going on in boxing, so much frustrations with these boxers, guys not wanting to fight each other, or guys wanting, these unrealistic amounts of money. Man, it makes me appreciate more and more that Floyd Mayweather era of boxing, where you're seeing like super fight after super fight after super fight. You know what I'm saying? For damn near Floyd Mayweather's whole career, you didn't see all the hang-ups with guys wanting 10, 15 million, 6 million, 5 million. You weren't finding guys who were being called out by other fighters. And instead of saying, oh, he's calling me out? Okay, well, let's fight. Prove who's the best. What you're seeing now, the more someone gets called out, the more they avoid that fighter. And for me, it's very frustrating, man. So when you look at Floyd Mayweather, the same way I think he spoiled us as boxing fans, true boxing fans, who can go all the way back to when Floyd first turned pro in 1996 when he fought Roberto Apodaca. Right? When you can go all the way back and look at the kind of entertainment you got out of a Floyd Mayweather fight, his very first fight, and the talent that you saw that was beyond comprehension, beyond belief of what this kid was able to do in the ring. But at the same time, we know he had the Olympic pedigree, bit of controversy, was given a bronze. He will never say he earned it. Say he was given a bronze. And we understand the frustration that he brought with him as a professional fighter. And we saw what he did to his opponents. When you look at Floyd Mayweather and just coming out there, Roberto Apodaca, Reggie Saunders, Jerry Cooper, Edgar Ayala, Kino Rodriguez, this is early in his career, right? This is early in his career. And then he comes out here, and then he gets put on the map. A couple years after, 2 years after this man turned pro, he goes on and fights Genaro Hernandez. Now, if you haven't seen that fight, you need to go watch that fight. And I'm telling you right now, let me close this door. You go watch that Genaro Hernandez fight. All the other fights before that was Floyd basically just showing people how great he was and outclassing them. You could see there was something different about him. But you watch that Genaro Hernandez fight, and then you think about what you're seeing with a guy like Spence, guys like Crawford. I'm talking about from when they turned pro to now. You look at even what Keith Thurman did, what Porter did, what Boots is doing, what Danny Garcia, Amir Khan, any and everybody who may have fought in that era or fighting right now, and the generation that's coming up behind the Keith Thurmans, the Earl Spence and Crawfords, because they're about to roll over, right? You look at what the guys from Mayweather's generation were doing, the guys from this generation, what they're doing, and that next generation that's coming up and about to take over. And you watch what Mayweather did in that Genaro Hernandez fight. There's not one boxer in existence who fought during that era, who's fighting now, and who's coming up to carry that mantle into the next era, right? Not one of them can reproduce, replicate, or do anything near what Mayweather did in that fight. And then you look what Mayweather did going after that fight to Angel Man Freddy. So we just have to look. Mayweather deserves a lot of credit. You look at Spence and Crawford. Those guys can't get it right. I understand that Mayweather and what he did as far as the fight purse and how much money he was able to make. The fact that he did so good for himself and he was able to help raise fighter pay, that's part of the problem, is that all these fighters now are making so much money that they've kind of become spoiled to where the grind isn't the same. That true self-belief, it's not the same. You can talk the talk, but you got to be able to walk it. Floyd Mayweather walked it. You look at it, man. You look at Canelo Alvarez. I had to give Canelo Alvarez some credit. He's out here and he's challenged himself. He's fought a lot of champions. But at the same time, Canelo Alvarez kind of cherry-picked some of these guys too, right? Because if Canelo Alvarez was really, if I was going to put him in the same category as Floyd Mayweather, by this point, Canelo Alvarez should have fought Demetrius Andrade. He should have fought Jamal Charlo already. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are fights that should have happened. He should have fought David Benavidez already. So, Canelo is still outstanding. He's still challenging himself. He still earned his position as probably, at this moment, the pound-for-pound best fighter in boxing. But if you want to sit there now, for those who think Canelo and what he's done is greater than what Floyd Mayweather's done, then I got to tell you, hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. Because Floyd Mayweather, and this is what annoys me when people talk, Floyd Mayweather didn't cherry pick. Towards the end of his career, in those last 5 fights, he knew that when he signed up to Showtime, and he knew he had to get out here and produce. He signed a contract. There were some fights that had to be made, and he fulfilled his contract. But he earned the right to do certain things towards the end of his career. But if you look at all the accolades and all the championship fights and all the super fights that man produced, there's no one walking around who can compete with the resume of Floyd Mayweather. No one. I don't care what anyone says. You just can't do it. Not just Diego Corrales. Not just the Emmanuel Augustus. And I'll be honest with you. You see that guy, Emmanuel Augustus, the drunken master? Emmanuel Augustus, in this era, will be an undisputed champion. I'm serious. But y'all can say what you want. A lot of you don't even know who Emmanuel Augustus is. But for those of us, true boxing fans who know, Emmanuel Augustus was no joke. Floyd Mayweather will even tell you that was his toughest fight. You look at the Jose Luis Castillo fight. Some people say Floyd lost that fight. Floyd had an injury. Came back, immediately rematched him. That's what Anthony Joshua will do. He'll immediately take a rematch. But Floyd Mayweather's confidence wasn't affected. He came back, did what he had to do, got his win. Goes up, gets there with Endo, fights Corley, gets hurt bad in the Corley fight. And this is what shows what champions are made of. He regrouped, because Floyd was out on his feet. Regrouped, came back to stop Corley. Then gets through Barcelos and goes in there and fights Gotti. Now, the Genaro, let me tell you, that Genaro, what's it, Genaro Hernandez? You need to watch that fight. You need to watch that Arturo Gotti Mayweather fight as well. You need to watch that Diego Corrales versus Mayweather as well. You're going to see something special. Watch when he goes in there after that and he fights Sean Bay Mitchell. Sean Bay Mitchell touched him as well. But this is why I say when it comes to Boots Ennis, he passes the eye test. But we don't know how special he is because he's never been hurt. He's never been buzzed. He never had to face adversity. But how are you going to respond when that happens? Because at some point it's got to happen. Floyd showed time and time again,
if you hit me, if you hurt me, I'm going to rise to the occasion. And 9 times out of 10, he stopped his opponents. Goes after that, Sean B. Mitchell fight Zab Judah. We all saw what happened in that fight. Floyd got buzzed, came back, started dominating him. You know, Zab Judah did what he had to do. Big brawl. That kind of, because Floyd was on his way to stopping Zab Judah. But that brawl and everything kind of, that just caused a huge distraction. People were able to rest, everything else. I mean, what's his name? Roger Mayweather was choking the hell out of Zab Judah in that corner. I don't know if y'all saw that. He was choking the hell out of Zab Judah. But it is what it is. Comes back after Zab Judah, gets in there with Baldomir. Remember, Baldomir had just, beat Zab Judah down. And probably was upset of the year. Mayweather comes and clips Baldomir with no problem. Then he gets in there, fights Oscar De La Hoya. Hey, man, that was a close fight. Some say De La Hoya won, some say Mayweather won. Doesn't matter. Mayweather won. But he showed you in that fight that his defense, again, is on point, and he's a master boxer. Gets in there with Ricky Hatton. We saw what he did to Ricky Hatton. Damn near killed him. But people, these are super fights after super fights after super fights. After Ricky Hatton takes time off, comes back to boxing, right? Fights Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez, everything that he's doing with Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather makes it look easy. After Marquez, goes in there with Shane Mosley. Super fight again. Victor Ortiz, super fight again. Miguel Cotto, super fight. Saul Alvarez, super fight. Marcos McDonough, super fight. Pacquiao, Andre Berto, Conor McGregor. You don't have anybody with some crazy promoter who is trying to have mob affiliations. You didn't have somebody out here who's trying to go and make the most money possible fighting in all these overseas places like Dubai and wherever else. You didn't have somebody who was out here trying to make the most money possible and jumping onto different apps, making it damn near impossible for people to watch your fights. Because to be honest, a lot of people don't have time to be clicking on buttons on their phones to watch a fight. Some of us are old school. The newer generation, they're accustomed, but that gets frustrating when you had to go to 5 or 6 apps to watch your favorite fighters. Okay? It gets frustrating. You don't have somebody here that's going to come in negotiations, right? Just to walk away from the table to take something that's a little easier and then finger pointing starting to why a fight can't happen. Those may want to say, oh, well, Mayweather and Pacquiao. Hey, look, Mayweather was right. Mayweather was right. There should have been drug testing and ped testing. What Manny Pacquiao did, no matter what you may feel about Pacquiao, this man to ascend 8 different weight divisions and to get stronger and stronger in every weight division, that's not normal. But Pacquiao says, from eating rice. But I'll say this. When that referee came out and said he cheated for Pacquiao, gave him the long count, 18 to 20-second count, right? And then Pacquiao came out and said he didn't feel the referee cheated for him. It was his fellow countrymen, and the referee was doing his job. So if Pacquiao would come out today, like this was something that happened like today, a couple weeks ago, and for Pacquiao to say he's okay with that, what else would Pacquiao have been okay with to ensure he got the wins he needed to catapult himself to a successful boxing career? Okay? That's all I'm saying. So when we look at the fact that we didn't get a Wilder AJ, we didn't get the AJ Fury, this whole Spence and Crawford thing, we got to appreciate what we were getting. People, we got spoiled. That's why Floyd Mayweather can still come out here and have these exhibition bouts and make $10, $15 million. People are still going to spend their money to buy these exhibition bouts. This man's selling more on pay-per-view for his exhibition bouts than these active fighters. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather has built his brand, but you know how he built his brand?
by fighting the best for nearly his whole career, giving us super fight after super fight. And what's frustrating for me is these fighters today, their team, and there's some culpability on their end as well, but their teams are hurting them because everyone wants to kind of, well, the majority of them, I'm not going to say everyone, but the majority, they want that Mayweather lifestyle. They want to reach that point that Mayweather reached, but Mayweather didn't get there cherry picking. Mayweather didn't get there not fighting tough fights. Mayweather got there. You always hear him talking about blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears, taking the risk, fighting everybody, and dominating, stopping people, embarrassing them. So when we look at these top fighters right now and all the different weight divisions, for me, it's a little frustrating. And especially when we talk about what's going on with the welterweights right now. Look, let me tell you something. When it comes to mandatories, I get it, right? It's no surprise that a unification can trump a mandatory. The undisputed will trump mandatories as well as anything else, right? The undisputed is everything. But that doesn't mean that is going to happen. You look at Mauricio Suleiman, okay? You look at what's going on out there with Yardy, Bertabiev, Caleb Smith, and Bivol. The undisputed match, that doesn't mean anything. The mandatory is taking priority over the undisputed bout. For those of you who didn't know. So when you look at what's going on with Spence and Crawford, the fact that, we got some mandatories out there and people are saying, well, Spence and Crawford can still fight because the undisputed is going to take priority over the mandatory. Those are bandwagonists just parroting things they're hearing. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work, but that doesn't mean that's how it's going to work. Spence and Crawford aren't fighting in 2023. I'm telling you that's not going to happen. This whole thing in boxing is political and it's corrupt. It was that way during the Mayweather era, but with Mayweather, hey, how many times was Mayweather the undisputed in any weight division? Do you know? I'm going to tell you this. Mayweather didn't care about being no damn undisputed. Mayweather wasn't paying those sanctioning fees. He learned early in his career. Those belts didn't matter to him. They didn't. Floyd didn't care. Floyd was just out here getting his money, and he wasn't going to give no damn couple $100,000 or however many millions it would have been over the years to sanctioning bodies just to go and fight. Floyd didn't care about a title. He just wanted to go in there and be the best and whip everybody's ass, which is what he did. And that's another thing with these sanctioning bodies. That's why you look when they have all this franchise champion and interim this and intercontinental this and that. Let me tell you, all those titles, man, it's ridiculous. And every time those belts are defended or there's a fight and the belt's involved, the challenger and the champion have to pay fees. So I don't blame Floyd Mayweather for doing things the way he did. And I appreciate the fact that we had a guy like him that almost gave us something to look forward to every few months. Really, really good fights. And that's with his fights and all the other good bouts that were kind of, filtered in between. From the Cottos to everyone, man. Even back in the day with Paul Williams. You know what's real unfortunate is something happened to Paul Williams. Him getting that accident. Very unfortunate, man. But there were just fights, Sergio Martinez. There were just a lot of fights going on from the time Floyd turned pro all the way up to Floyd retired. Great fights, and then you had his fights. And, I mean, there were, like, killers out there. Cotto, Judah. I mean, even Malignaggi was out there making a noise. You would tune in to watch his fights. Like, there were really good fights out there. Vernon Forrest, Mosley. You know, a lot of good fights taking place. But today, it's just a little bit different. And I think we're not getting the fights we want at the time we want, because boxing is definitely a lot more of a business than it was back then. And that's a move in the right direction, because this generation learned from guys like Mayweather. They learned from guys like De La Hoya to kind of take their career into their own hands. And when you got a guy like Al Heyman who comes around and shows these guys how to really make money and maximize their brand, and how to take advantage of the short boxing shelf life they have, you know, a guy like that should be commended. And especially when a guy like that comes along and he puts on the hat of as an advisor, so he's no longer taking a manager and promoter fee. He just takes a small fee, but he does both jobs. But he kind of masked that title of manager and promoter by being labeled as an advisor. But a guy like him has helped boxers. And you can't fault a guy like Earl Spence for being loyal to him and wanting to stay with him until the wheels fall off in regards to his career. Loyalty matters. So when people start talking about ducking and people being afraid to fight, all I'll say is this. You didn't really hear those conversations when it came to Floyd Mayweather. And towards the end of his career, when he's on the way out, that's when people want him to fight Thurman. They wanted Floyd to fight Spence. They wanted him to fight all these young guys. And I think Floyd would have beat him. Could have been a little bit tough, but I think Floyd would have beat him. But the man fighting 20 years or so, and you still want him to get in there and try to bang it out with these guys when he's already mentally checked out. He's got a retirement plan in place, and he has other plans outside of boxing. He earned the right to do what he did. These young fighters need to look at, to me, what Floyd did. Try to make the super fights, win their super fights, you know, take control of their career and their destiny, and then have an exit path, an exit strategy from boxing. Because the way they're going, you're looking at Jamal Charlo, looking at these fighters who are only fighting once a year. We know things happen in personal lives, but at the end of the day, short shelf life. Terrence Crawford, about to be 36. Keith Thurman, I think 32, 34. Spence, 32. Hey, there's not much time left on those guys. Deontay Wilder, let's see, 38. Anthony Joshua in the 30s. Like, there's about to be a turnover in boxing. So to me, these guys should be trying to make as many big fights as they can and have an exit strategy. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was just sitting here thinking, man, for a straight, really since the beginning of his damn career, but for really like a straight decade, man, Floyd Mayweather just nonstop, super fight after super fight. No drama, just fights. People knew who was the A side, and it was what it was. You wanted the opportunity, you took it. It wasn't a whole bunch of bickering. You're going to make the most money you've ever made in your career. But you look at now, everybody's pocket watching. With this person getting that, I want this, I want that. Entitled. Entitlement. Horrible. With that being said, we'll see what's going to happen going into 2023. I don't think it gets any better. I don't think we're going to get this one individual who's going to bubble to the top and give us super fight after super fight, because Spence is a big 147-pounder. He's talking about moving up. Terrence Crawford, he has a belt. There's a status that they can actually enter into where they could leave the belt, go up, and immediately challenge for the next weight divisions
for a title, and then come back down and fall back into their championship status that they were in. That's something that you could see Crawford do. You could see Spence do it. But what you're not going to see is Crawford come and try to fight Boots and try to fight Stan Eunice and try to fight Virgil Ortiz. Like, you're not going to see someone come and really clean out the division or just to really prove they're the best and fight all the top guys. Like, you're just not going to see that. Okay? And that's why I say the Mayweather era spoiled us by giving us all those super fights. And I hope going into 2023, at least one of these guys step up to the plate and try to do that for us. But I'm not optimistic. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. Shout out to Mayweather. I'm in the breeze.